Right guys, update. Thought we start with a big fun. Back in workshop, I've got these patterns, we've got all the pipes. I drew them up last night on computer, a bit harder than I thought just to trim them out. There's a few different ways I could have done it, whether I joined the two in together and drop them in, whether I've spaced them out evenly, could not decide, so I just did something and thought it'd be right. For what it is, it don't need to be out fancy. So yeah, printed them out on A3. I'm now going to have to do a bit of bodging to make them fit these pipes. So I'll get them out of my bike, I've got them in my book. Right, let's have a look, let's see if I can find them in my book for you. And then I'll flip camera down in a minute, we'll see where we're at. So, I've got them. All you can see is a white piece of paper there, can you? And you can nearly see them. So I think that's... Let me have a look at it. Yeah. What you got there, hold it in my teeth. Them two are the same. That one over there is an outside pipe. That were hard to point to. So yeah, you can barely see it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them out. I've actually printed them out twice. So what I've got there now, I've got 4 middles and 2 ends. I need 2 ends, I don't need 4 middles. So what I'm going to do is have a bit of a play with the middle ones. That's why I've printed some extra ones out. The middle ones are a little bit tricky because they're going to need a cut on either side, aren't they? The outside one, it'll come down, it'll just need a cut on that side. That one will come down, it'll just need a cut on that side. The 2 middle ones will come down. They want cutting either side, or they want cutting in the middle, so they join together, but they want cutting on that side as well, so they join into the outside ones. So yeah, there's a double cut on them. I couldn't suss out how to do them on end up pipes. So really, I've cut these pipes bang on right to fit in the holes, which means that like my paper pattern's gonna start right at the bottom of it. I'll bring that in, it's pointless, it's just a piece of tube. But it's gonna start right at the bottom of it. So do I cut out, my plan was to cut out what I need to cut out, put it onto the bottom, draw around the top of it, cut all that bit out. Doesn't really work, I don't think. Or because there'd be 2 proper spindly legs coming down on it, there'd be hardly any paper left. So, how would it work? Don't think it works. Don't work on the outside ones, they're too close at the bottom. The middle ones, the cut's I'm gonna have to cut that much off the bottom when they join in, and the cut's here in a way, so that's not too bad because that could be all paper at the bottom. But the outside ones are too close to the bottom. So my plan was last night when I thought I'm going to get around that, I thought, well, I'll just draw a line on my pattern that's 150 milli up, and I'll cut that across there, mark on here 150 milli up, and then stick the pattern downwards with a cutout at the bottom, draw around the cutout, do it that way. But these are not 150 milli long, so now I'm going to have to get my pattern now, my paper patterns, draw a 120 line on it. I think that will fit. Hopefully it's above the cutout. Some of these cutouts are going to go like right up to bend. They'll be up there somewhere. Massive cutouts. So they're going to take a lot of tacking, I think, as well, because they're going to move, aren't they? It'll distort the pipe. It's not even the weld. It'll distort the weld. It'll literally distort the pipe. So I've done them. I've put cutouts. See, if you put a cutout in there, on inside of that bend, when you're doing like a Siamese, there's a lot of stress in that bend because you've bent it over. It actually wants to spring back, doesn't it? But because the metal's hard, it's holding it here. You put a bit of a cutout in this, it'll just go wrap and move over. Or even when you put a dint in it, if you put a dint in it, it'll start to bend over. It's weird. It's really weird stuff, metal. So yeah, my plan is, like I say, I'll just tip you down now. So let's see if we can see what I can see. Can you see what I see? Nah, maybe not. You probably can if I left it there. Get rid of my can of Coke. These are my 4 pipes. I've drawn a line-up bench here, which is parallel to... You might be better off being a lot more further up in here. Let's jack you up. You get it all live here, don't you? You even get raised up. There you go. Have a raise, lads. Have a raise. Treat yourself. I'll get you locked up there. See if that'll give you a bit of an advantage. you might not be square or out like that, you don't look square, but so yeah, I've drawn a line on here. This is my little pattern from yesterday that showed the pipes coming down, pipe. I could stick them like that. That's basically what they need to be. But like I say, they want trimming. So this will be a good place to check them once I've trimmed them. But for now, I know that line's parallel to this block, so that block sat on the edge of the table. So what I've been doing, I've just put that sitting on line there, sit them all on line, get them so they're all perfectly the same. There's a couple of little different heights up and down here that way kind of thing, but only by half a mil or a mil or so. I don't think it's going to make much difference to me cut out. It's one of them, by the time I actually get it on there, there'll be a lot more things out than that. So what I'll do is just even them out a bit. So I think that one and that one's lower. Them two are higher, so what I'd do, maybe put that higher one on the outside, the two higher ones on the outside, the two lower ones in the middle. At least then, when I join them together, there'll be similar cutouts on them. So yeah, just got that sat on that line there. They're also a little bit out of line on bottom. There's a couple of little, maybe a mil or two difference on the bottoms of them. But my first port of call was to get them sat like that, get them squared up by eye. Then, just get a piece of metal bar, ruler, anything. And I've done that. Just kept on sitting there, scratching these backwards and forwards. That's giving me a centre line. You need to do it with 2 or more, or 3, 4 kind of thing. It's giving me a centre line on the tops of the pipes, which is what I've worked out my patterns to be. So when I roll my paper around, I need to line it up with these lines. So it's there, there. I'm going to join these up with a ruler in a minute. There and there and there. And that's basically what I need to get. I need to line my paper pattern up with them. Same again, I don't think it'll matter for half a mil. Because I'm going to have to, once I've cut these out, I'm going to have to grind them into place. What word have I got for that? Like coaxing it in a little bit, just little baby steps in. So don't go all the way. When I do the cut out, sometimes if you're a little bit unsure, just leave a mil on or two, and then just use that to grind it back with. So they're my centre lines. That's the very back of the pipe, so the very front of the pipe, should we say. And that's roughly what I need to line my pattern up with. Check that on that line again. Might just mark a little note on that one, and that one's a little bit longer, so maybe sit my patterns a little bit off the bottom. Really, ideally, them 2 longer ones could do with just being on outside. That might make my life a little bit easier. They actually look a lot better like that. Yeah, and they're just a marker pen's thickness different there. Them ones are a little bit longer, like a blade thickness probably on the chop saw. 2 mil, 3 mil thick. It's 2 mil, I think. Right, so I've got them. So now I want to get one of my patterns. I need a bit more bench space, I think. Just been to the bakery. It's a bit dangerous where we are. There's a bakery right next door. I've just been for a pie. It's giving me a bit of the heartburn burps. That's not helping you out at all, is it? Neither is that. Neither is that. You can nearly see them, can't you? That's the faint. They are faint. That's what happens when you're printing them out. Just like they're plotted out, aren't they? They're not really printed out, so they are meant to be faint. So I'm going to get my scissors out my drawer behind me, and we're just going to cut one of these out. But I might have to do that little 120 up. So that line there is my 150 line. I'm going to have to do a little 120 line up, aren't I, across all of them. and just remark that. Oh, it won't work, I don't think. Right, so I might have to just draw the lines down and thingy, let me get your camera off. You might not see this might be a little bit too tricky to even film. It might be one of them where I'm going to have to think for too long. So, let's see what we've got here. So that's my problem. What I've done, I've worked these out the length of the full pipe. So the top up here is actually the tops of the pipes there. And then the bottom is that I forgot about the bend, don't need the bend, I've just done them as 4 straight pieces of tube of that long, which is 235. There's a 195 measurement is the distance from there to there vertically. So the distance from the centre hole there down to here is 195. So that's how I've worked out where these cutouts need to be on there. So they should all work out right. This is where the 235 would be. So if I put that on the bottom end of my pipe, that's where my cutouts need to be. And as you can see, like I was thinking, just if I do 150 there, cut out leave the grey bit behind, I can line it up on the pipe, say there, and the pattern will be like this going down. That's not going to work now, I don't think. So my plan might be to extend these lines down, that one there, cut out the white bit, and draw around that, but the problem is I'll only have that bit and that bit joined up with sellotape, won't I? And I'll only have that bit there and that bit there to line it up with my black line. So it'll only be lining up here. It could be slightly out of squiff, whereas if I'd had all that from there to there to sellotape together, but that wouldn't sellotape to that rate easily, would it? There's no left of it over there. But I'd have a bigger line to line up, and also I'd be able to see the black line at the bottom and I'd be able to see the black line at the top. Maybe for these 2 pipes I might do them white way on. Let's have a look how big long this... Oh yeah, the cutout's not as long on that outside pipe. Not as long as that one. So that one I might be able to do a 120 up and sellotape the grey bit together. Use the grey bit. I think on these ones I might use the white bit. On them ones I'm going to use the grey bit. So like what I say, I'm gonna just have a way up of that now. Do some marking out some more lines on the pipes. Once I've got them cut out, rolled up, sellotaped, and they might slide over the pipes. If I sellotape them together, they might actually not slide over the pipes. It was working out thicknesses. If that were made out of 1mm metal, I would have had to knock a 1mm off it to make it the right diameter. I had 1mm on so that it fits on the outside, whereas that's only paper thick. It might leave 0.5 of a gap, say, which would be perfect, be able to see the line, won't I? Just line that up with a line, the gap. But I might not be able to actually roll it up, sellotape it, slide it over the pipe. I might have to roll it round the pipe, sellotape it onto the pipe, because it might not join all the way up. So there's a lot to think about. But yeah, once I've got that sorted, I'll put camera back out. I'm gonna go make a brew, have a fag, stare at this a little bit, mark out some measurements, do some thinking. One of them check 3 times in it. You don't want to watch me check 3 times because it'd be boring. So yeah, I'll be back again. That's how I started off. Don't know how I got my thumb that big on the last one. There we go. I will see you again soon. Right guys, my marking up's done. So I did manage to get a bit of sellotape on that and it will slide over. Basically, what have I done there? Oh, I've left a little bit of a gap. Because I did the first one by just stretching it round my hand, holding it in place, marking round it. They wouldn't meet up by that much. Less than a mil, probably a mil. So I just laid it down on bench, folded it like that, sellotaped it up, slid it back over the pipe. It actually went a bit out of shape, but I think it's close enough. And then what I've done then is just cut through that sellotape again, cut down that line, folded it the other way around and sellotaped it back up again. That gives you that one and then that one, a left and then a right when you roll it backwards. So I didn't need as many patterns. All the other patterns I don't need. That was my pattern for the other one. So it's like I said that, and that one I've used the top, used the grey section. This one I've used the cutout as to mark round. So that one's done. You imagine if I folded that round like that all the way, that's marked that one and that one. So I did one, I folded it, like I say, that way, and then the other one, turned the piece of paper over and folded it the other way. And I've done that because them two halves, them two cutouts, are slightly different. That's because I've not done them in centre. I said that well weird. I've not joined them in. I've not joined them in as equal spacing, mainly because if you have a look at this, the gaps are different. So what I've done is I've brought that one down to the centre. The two outside ones, I've brought them down to the centre, cut them through the middle, use that as one V. And then I've done these two down to the centre, use that as another V. And then I've marked out what that would look like and what that V would look like, and then intersected the two Vs. So they will be slightly different. That angle running into that pipe is different from that angle when it runs into that pipe. That's a shallow V, that's a less shallow V. So yeah, the angle on one side of that's going to be different. The good thing about that is though that I can, if them ones are slightly wrong, what you do is you just, oh no, if I've worked out the angle, so if that's a longer side, you see it goes right up to there, that's the shorter side. I couldn't suss out whether it was a shorter one in the middle or the longer one in the middle, but if it's the longer one in the middle, then I just flip them two pipes round and see what they look like. So my plan now is, so I'll just give you a rough idea, that line there nearly followed the line that I guessed. I had to rub it off so I didn't get mistaken. That line there on the bottom, just to bring it, so when that comes down there, that's what it'll need, that chopping off the bottom. You see what I mean? So that lines up with that, that'll line up with all at the top. On that one I've put remove. Oh, it don't make no sense at all. On these two I put keep black, so then on these two I put remove black. So I'm going to remove the black line off it. On these ones I need to keep the black line. It's just the way I've drawn around the piece of paper. Oh yeah, so this was the paper. The paper were on the top half, so I need to get rid of the black line off that. And then the paper were on the bottom half on these. So the paper's the cutout, the black line's actually in the metal. So that one I keep the black lines on, so I need to keep to the right hand side of the black line. This one, remove the black line, so keep to the right hand side of the black line if I were cutting up that side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to whip the grinder out. I'm going to put your back on bench. My reason for that is mainly because I can't do both at once. I want to film a little bit of this to try and make a reel out of it. I keep saying I'm going to do that and then never ever post any of them up on Facebook. Just can't be asked to get home 7, 8 o'clock or something, and I just cannot be bothered editing anything up. I've just been slacking again a bit recently with videos. I've been filming these and I've not been posting them up. I will post them up though, because I did that start of the year and I had like a week or two's worth of them. Oh, in the end I just deleted them off camera. I couldn't be bothered. I think too much rabbiting on it while I was doing that Rickman. I'm rabbiting again now, aren't I? So yeah, my plan is I'm going to get my phone out, just film these that by just showing you, film the black lines, and then I'm going to get grinder out, cut them off. It's going to look a little better on my phone, posted up on a reel, than it will do on here. So yeah, one of my mates, Jan, the light lady who's got flipping millions of followers, he once commented saying that I can't set the camera up and film me doing reels for you to watch on YouTube. I totally understand that. Yeah, it don't make sense. So we'll just put a hold on it. I'll whip my phone camera out. I've been listening to Billy Bolt and Manny Lettenberger. I don't know say his last name. Lettenberger, innit, I think. I watch stuff like that all the time, just for their podcasts. So I've just had that on the bench while I've been working that out, listened to it for like past half an hour. So I'll do a bit of chopping, carry on listening to that in between me filming. Missing the music. Yeah, and then I'll get it back out and show you what it'll like with cutouts, and we'll arrange them back up on this block, possibly using me marker pen lines that I've mocked up to replicate the jig. They might even fit in the jig. I'll be back in half an hour. You'll just have to wait a second. I'll be back. Right guys, we're back on. That worked well. Just the rough cuts so far. I've put them on my block. They look alright. I also burnt my hand. There's nothing to see, but it burnt. It's probably that pink bit about there. It burnt. Basically, when you're cutting these pipes, sparks flying out of them like mad. If you cut it the wrong way, the sparks go down the pipe, come out the end of the pipe. I had my hand over the end of the pipe, so it was just a barrage of flipping sparks at the end of my hand. Hurt a lot. If I try and spin camera right now, let's see if we can do this one-handed. they're a little bit off because I've had them in jig as well. Basically, let's just do this rough jig. So that's me rough positions. Get that on there like that, lined up with edge at bench. Then let's try and find number 1. So I think that'll be number 1. Put that over that hole there. Roughly get it lined up. It's hard to see them lines below. That one might be number 2. That one would sit about there-ish. So lining up nicely. That one will be number 3. Lining up nicely. I think I might have trimmed a little bit too much off that middle one there. And then this one here is going to be number 4. So that, for a rough cut, is looking spot on. There's one thing I've noticed when I put them in jig. I don't think this, you can actually see it from here. That's not in the centre of that nut, is it? And he's moving across to about there. He's welded that on off centre. I'm going to ask him whether it needs to be off centred. I don't think it will. I think this was just a case of that's where he wanted it to end, because like I say, he's going to bend the pipe outwards towards us, so he don't want it any lower than that. But I don't think left or right by a few mil will matter, because you're obviously, my joining's going to be about here on this, so it'll definitely fit in the same place as that'll fit. So when I put these in here, plonk that one in there like that, they actually sit better when they're just above it. So if you just do that and flick it onto that edge, they probably need a little tiny bit. They're going to need skimming everywhere, basically. I'm going to have to get my flapper wheel out and just do some finessing now, which we're always going to be the case. That's why these are only roughed out, as in, yeah, I could have got them a bit closer together. I could have got closer to the line, but then there's nothing to grind off. If you do it too close to the line, you can sometimes go past the line, you'll end up with a gap. Whereas at the moment, they're all too far spread, so they just want a quick whip out. They want neatening up on each one of them so that they come together a bit nicer. But as you can see, that's just off to that side. There's a gap on that side, no gap on that side. And they're roughly lining up with holes. So we're getting there, we're getting close. So now we just need to get that to fit in there a bit better. The plan was to put an 1 3/4 pipe in there, just a collar, and tack it on, weld it round. But I've actually got these two a bit too close. So what I might do, if I can tack this together like it is there, once I've finessed them up, I might skim a few mil off the bottom of that, or I might just chop this off completely, just chop the tube off. So I've still got this pillar then as a height, and I can, or maybe just chop it in half might work. Chop it in half is going to be the one, so I chopped half of that off. So then I can just drop my tube in from vertically down. I can line all these up with it. I can actually sit them in the bottom edge of it. And then I can tack it across the top, turn it round, tack it. Because it's going to be the same problem here. I can tack these on top, like tack it once here, once there, maybe one up towards the top end. But I won't be able to tack any of them on the bottom. So what I'm just going to tack them on the top, flip it all over, tack them all on again. I also need to make sure that they stay in line with them. So my plan is these actually, that hole in that collar is the same size as the hole in the pipe, so they don't fit inside them. So my plan is, so I can line them up, is to go to the chop saw now and cut some bits of tube that will fit inside the pipe and inside that hole. So I did one the other day and I've probably lost it. I had to do it for a motorbike. This here. So that was one that I made. Basically, just so it fits in that hole and doesn't get stuck in the hole, I cut a slot in it. So it just squash up, so that'll just squash it up so it's a little bit smaller than the size it needs to be, which just gives it a little bit of waggling room in there, means it won't get stuck, but it'll help locate it. So I've dropped that into each one of them holes, and then I've got a little bit of a spigot to put these over. It'll stop them moving while I'm trying to line up the bottom ends, and then I can tack all these together, pull them off them, remove these spigots, or I might actually tack them onto the flange, the manifold flange, tack them onto there, unbolt it, and pull these out through the backs of it. So then I know it's all perfectly lined up. That bit's my next big problem. But yeah, for now, it's past 5 o'clock, so there's a guy coming with a parcel, some brazing rods for me, between 5:30 and 7:30 at workshop, so I might stick around for as long as I can. I'll speak to Ashley first, see what she wants to do about the tea. But yeah, I might be here for a couple of hours. All I'm going to do is, like I say, I'm just going to get them finessed up. It's be boring as again. So I'm just going to sit here with Grinder, find something else to watch on YouTube, sit here with Grinder, chill out for a bit, just easy. Don't rush this bit. Just keep taking a little tiny bit off, checking it in the jig. Might do one pipe, might do it like this. Pull that pipe off, get it finessed up. Might take them two out completely and just try and get these two to butt up nicely, or get them two to butt up nicely in the middle before I join the two outers in. Not decided on any of that yet, so it just needs a lot of thinking. It's going to need an hour's worth of thinking, that I think, and just gently, mainly I'll grind it to line, I think now, just at least smooth all the cuts into one smooth line. Maybe not take it all the way up to the black line yet, but just get it so it is nice and smooth. Keep checking them against each other. Yeah, cut these collars, give that a go. Just have a bit of a play, and then I'll possibly just weld it up tomorrow. Try and get it into a place now where it is all lined up, where I can tack it up, where I'm happy with it. Then go home, come back in tomorrow, put a couple of tacks on with TIG welder. Like I say, guys coming with brazing rods now. I've got 1 or 2 left. Totally run out of flux, so I ordered 2 barrels of flux, 2 little containers. I'll show you. They're in my drawer here. They were half the price of what they were on Sif's website. That's a proper Sif tub. Is that Sif flux there? And Sif also sell them like this, without that red label on. Well, I don't know whether that has come from, well, it says there, Sif bronze, Letchworth Hertz. Let's see if this one says the same. It looks like a knockoff version of it, but I think they just, that says the same thing there. It says weldability Sif, Peter's House, Orbital Centre, Inknield Way, Letchworth, Herefordshire. So they definitely come from the same place, Letchworth, Herefordshire. So yeah, even though it does look knocked off, so that were purging flux, Sol or something or other, for stainless. I tried it, I didn't like it. That one there, aluminium welding flux, that's when I was talking to from Tab, Mark Purcell, that died at TT, rest in peace, Mark Purcell. And we were having a lot of conversations about gas welding alley and TIG welding alley. At the time I was learning how to TIG weld it, Mark was always gas welded it, so he was trying to teach me how to gas weld it. And he said, buy some of that, buy some of this, buy some of that, blah, 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 and give it a go. So I did, bought some of that, give it a go, didn't like it neither, so I went back to TIG. This weirdly, I've just collected them up because I moved me sander, didn't I? My linisher belt, and that were all on the back of it, so I filtered all gunk out of it. Now I've just got half a tub of iron filings in there. Don't know what I want to use them for, but when I was a kid, my dad used to collect them up for us and bring them home with a big magnet. We just used to play about with it with a big speaker magnet. So yeah, I've got 2 tubs of that, like I say, because it was cheaper than buying 1 tub of that off Sif directly, which were weird. So yeah, I got 2 for the price of 1, but I also needed a pack of rods, so I've got 2 of them on order. Normally just buy 1 and 1, but I just thought, nah, I keep running out. Why don't I just buy 2 of them? I'll just buy 2 of them. So I bought some 2.4, what I normally use, and I bought some 1.6. Just nice, fine work. Might work really well on this. I've looked at it a few times, don't know whether just to TIG weld it all up or to braze it. It'll look mint if I brazed it. I'm not customer really happy if I brazed all that up. So might braze it, but I'll definitely have to tack it with TIG. Like I say, I'll wait around for them rods. That's me, I'm done again. Like I say, I'm just going to grind them off, finish them off. We'll have a look at it again tomorrow. This might be the end of a video. We'll come back and do the rest of it tomorrow. Right, have a good one, lads, girls. In a bit.